just something about the thrill of that pull in the darkness that's absolutely magical. Your senses are heightened at night. You can't really see, so your sense of sort of hearing and smell, and especially touch, is so acute, you know. And I don't think you'd really get that same sensation with spinning gear, because you're feeling the fish through the gears of the fixed spool reel. With the fly line, that sudden sort of snatch as the line gets ripped out of your fingers, you know, and a big fish takes off and crashes down the pool. It's absolutely addictive. Well, last week in July, and the heat wave is now several days away. Water's cooled down a bit, and we've had a little bit of rain. Not record breaking, but the little river near me's had a couple of small rises, maybe a few inches at a time, which doesn't sound a lot, but it should have put a bit of extra oxygen in the water. And what is quite an exciting prospect, it's quite likely to have brought one or two sea trout up from the estuary, tempted them into the river. So I'm going to stay on a little bit into the dark. That's if the water's clear. We have had one or two heavy showers today and a bit of sort of light rain, but it's only put maybe, I don't know, half an inch of water in the river, if that. So what I'm hoping is it's staying clear. I'm going to change the surface lure in the dark, because I'm going to explore a pool that I'm not that familiar with, and you can't really get snagged if you use the surface lure. Plus it'll bring up possibly chub, decent brown trout, and if I'm really lucky, a sea trout, but that's a little bit far-fetched. So let's see how we go on. Okay, right, so just a quick point on health and safety concerning night fishing. First of all, check where you're fishing in the daylight. Be sure where your entry and exit points are for a pool if you're wading, where the safe paths are, where there might be any obstacles to trip over, etc. When you go out, make sure somebody knows where you are, precise location, and when you're expected back. The place where I fish down here, I mean, during the daytime, if I sort of had a fall and broke an ankle, within 10 minutes there'd be either somebody on a mountain bike or walking or jogging, or somebody walking a dog would come past and I'll be able to get help. At night, completely different. There wouldn't be a soul there all night. If I had a fall, went down a ditch, broke my leg or my ankle or something, I'll be there for the night. So, not good. Yeah, it's that pull that comes out of nowhere in the night that makes you jump out of your skin. So it's 9 foot, 5 weight rod, 5 weight floating line, double taper. That's little bushy blue Zulu. There we go. And a little wee traditional butcher on the point. 7-pound nylon leader. And I might step that up later on, maybe about half an hour when it gets dark enough. That's the baby that's going to go on, which is the surface lure. And you should be able to just see that lure dragging across the water, making that little cut in that little wake. And on a dark night, that's quite deadly for big brown trout, chub and sea trout. Unfortunately also little brown trout, and sometimes very little sea trout. But quite an effective lure, very exciting method of fishing. And this is the main pool at dusk. Just enough light for the camera to pick it up. You can see it just sweeps around that great big wide bend at the bottom. And it deepens up just on that corner as the current disappears into the bushes, sort of in the middle of the picture. That's where I imagine a good fish should hold. Not very deep most of the pool, but quite deep over there, and again quite deep over towards that far bank there on the clay undercut. And just at the top of the pool where we just been, got a couple of small brownies, and that's the side of those willows is perhaps another promising spot. I'm just going to let it go a bit dark before I make my next cast. I feel a little bit of drizzle now, which isn't good really. Can do that rain. Oh, another rise. Not taking it properly, just seem to be swatting it. There we are. Oh yes. Good fish. Oh, not that big. They do feel big in the dark, no doubt about it. Feels like a big fish in the dark every time, but I think it is. Not a big fish, just a little modest young trout. But I got that on the dry fly, I'd have been quite chuffed. Not a big brownie, but with a surface lure. If you look at the size of the lure it's taken. But, there we go, bit of sport. I've got a hook very firmly in the finger now. So this is what you do when you get a barbed hook in your finger. I thought I'd removed the barbs, but I obviously hadn't. I've got to pull the barb right through, which is difficult. There you go. And that's right through my finger, as you can probably see. And I'm going to snip the barb off and then try and pull it back. I honestly thought I'd debarb these hooks. The fish was wriggling about while I got one hook out, and then the wriggling managed to get the barb of the hook in my finger. Don't know where that's got it. Let's see if that'll come backwards now. With the barb depressed. Yeah. And there we go. A little bit of blood, but at least we got it out. Free to fish again, as we say. Bit of water, clean water on that. Right, now we've had that little bit of time up here, I'm going to try that pool tail in earnest now. It's gone a little bit darker, so it's probably worth giving that a go. And again, this time a proper decent brown trout. That's what I call a brownie, well worth the trouble. On the surface lure, first cast in the top of the run, slipping back. Sink lure. Good fish. Not massive, but okay. Not massive, let's have a look. It'll do. So this time it's the sunk lure. Idiot. And again, not a bad brownie at all. Good one for the river. So that's 2 decent fish now. Okay, let's get him back. Pardon the cliche. Same spot again. Oh, that's there we go. Another good. Oh, excellent. Hello. Oh, he's gone. Oh, that was a half decent fish. What a shame. Oh, I was looking forward to landing that one. I think I did quite well controlling my swearing there. Right, so not terribly bad. One really good fish lost and a couple of okay trout landed, plus a few smaller ones and a little chub, which unfortunately I didn't manage to get on the camera, but quite enjoyed that, and pretty good example of this kind of sport you can have after dark with the surface lure, especially this time of the year. Get to the end of July and everything seems to die off on the river during the day around here, unless you've got a lot of good water. If you're fishing in spades it might be a bit different, but generally you're sort of up against it with those conditions. So yeah, good spot, good sport I should say. So I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe, share, comment, and don't forget to hit the little bell that gives you your notification. For the older viewers, remember subscription is totally free. Okay, take care, see you next time.